Welcome, 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 everyone, and happy Thursday. It is noon Eastern time here in the booming metropolis just outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Yes, of course, I am talking about Ambler, PA. Ambler plus noon plus Thursday, that equals Talent Experience Live, the show that covers everything that you need to know in talent acquisition, talent management, recruiting, human resources as a whole, and of course, artificial intelligence. I am your host, Devin Foster, and Talent Experience Live is proudly brought to you by the good folks here at Phenom, whose purpose is to help 1 billion find the right work. That's billion with a B. That, is, of course, is why we host this program every single Thursday, why we have been at every single HR Tech event under the sun this past fall. We've even created a couple of our own, including I Am Phenom out in Europe, specifically in Munich. And we also have I Am Phenom India coming up in just a few short weeks here in December. We don't just do events. We don't just do podcasts. We also have a plethora of great webinars that you can attend. And we also have a podcast with Cliff Yurkowicz, which comes out monthly on Mondays. I think the next episode is going to be December 8th, so you won't want to miss that. Anyway, the way that we truly help a billion is not through podcasts, webinars, or events. It is through our Applied Intelligence Experience platform, which helps candidates find the right fit faster, employees evolve in their current roles and beyond. Recruiters get to see next level productivity and efficiency, as well as managers get to build better teams with data analytics and automation. All of this can be found at phenom.com. I mentioned it is an applied AI technology. So if any of this interests you at all, run, don't walk immediately following this program, because we got a good episode for you today, to phenom.com. Don't be afraid to hit that request a demo button. Tell them Devin sent you. We count. The numbers are coming up where a lot of people request demos from this show. So just add on. Be another one of the crew. But anyway, that does it for the Bills. Now that we have covered everything that Phenom does and everything that we are going to do, including I Am Phenom coming up in March this spring, I have a very special episode for you all today. Recorded it just before Thanksgiving. I was joined by Jess Silverman and Colin Dunham of UT Health Houston. And they recently just won an award from the Candies, specifically on how they're leveraging artificial intelligence. And I think this conversation was fascinating because obviously UT Health Houston, they're in the medical space. They need people yesterday, not today. And speaking with Jess and Colin, they specifically mentioned how they were able to get out of the gates running with some new technology and able to find the right candidates faster, like I mentioned in our purpose there, and able to truly help the business as a whole. They are both fans of Phenom, but overall, they're outstanding professionals working to hire folks, not only in the research field, but also in the medical field, as I mentioned. So hang on for this episode. You won't want to miss it. If you miss any of it at all, if you have to hop off, if you get a phone call, don't worry. The recording will be on YouTube as well as here on LinkedIn. And just give me a few short hours and I'll have it up on Spotify and Apple Music as well. But without any further hesitation, here is myself, Colin, and Jess.
Welcome, Jess and Colin, to Talent Experience Live. It is a pleasure to have you on the program. Kind of to kick things off, I know I had a brief intro there, but would love to hear, what your experience is, what your favorite things are. Do you enjoy long walks on the beach, romance novels, whatever it may be? A brief introduction for both of you. We'll start with you, Jess.
Sure. Like you said, I'm Jess Silverman. I'm a talent acquisition specialist here at UT Health Houston. I do like long walks on the beach, but when I'm not doing that, I am supporting 3 groups within our organization: outpatient psychiatry and behavioral sciences, Children's Learning Institute, and radiology, both research and clinical roles.
Awesome. And you, Colin?
Yeah, Colin Dunham. I am the Assistant Director for Talent Experience here at UT Health Houston. I am crazy about talent and how we get more of it here at our organization. I'm originally from Oklahoma, but one of the things I love is eating my way through the Houston food scene because we've got amazing food down here. So
Okay, Oklahoma makes sense. You didn't say you like long walks on the beach. Not too many beaches there. Well, thank you both for joining. Obviously, both you from UTL Houston, and I want to ask you specifically, what makes hiring in the healthcare space, in academic medical space, very unique compared to other industries, right? I think as HR professionals, especially in the HR tech space, we like to talk about it with a broad brush. What makes it so unique for both of you?
Yeah, I would start out by saying, working in an academic healthcare setting means it's more than just healthcare. We are looking at three different areas within UTL Houston. We're looking at certainly clinical care, but also research, and then all things related to education as we educate the next healthcare providers who are going to go out and change the world in those spaces. So, really, to look at UTL Houston, how we're positioned there, it's three different areas, all wrapped up into one. We also work right here in the Texas Medical Center, which is the largest medical center in the entire world. And so it poses a lot of fun recruitment opportunities for us as we are trying to get the best talent when really we have competitors right across the street who are also doing fantastic healthcare in our community. So a lot of things that we get to think about as we're branding ourselves as an employer of choice and really trying to find talent and fill our roles and really make our community all the more better.
Yeah, and you just recently got the Candy Award, which is super exciting as well. We'll dive into that a little bit. You mentioned working with the community there. Obviously, being a part of a greater purpose. I think companies and organizations and HR teams specifically, whenever hiring, they always contribute things to their purpose or to their mission. I know our purpose here at Phenom is to help a billion find the right work. Um, that's a wonderful thing to say. We say it all the time, but when you think about the healthcare space, obviously your mission and purpose is a little bit more grand than just helping a billion people find the right work. How does that tie into your talent acquisition team and how they approach hiring? Obviously, working in the healthcare space, you're trying to better lives every single day outside of work. So how does that really tie in when it comes to the bigger purpose there?
We have to find amazing people. We in talent acquisition, we're meeting with our clients internally who say, "I need someone," and there's only 5 people in the entire world who do this thing. So it gets kind of hard sometimes when you're looking for that purple squirrel that sometimes the recruitment world talks about, right? And we need to usually find them yesterday. I think every recruiter has heard this, like, "Oh, I need them to start last week." So we're often looking for very specialized things because, again, we do a lot of interesting, amazing research that's usually pretty niche. But also the clinical care. We have more than 100 clinics across the entire Houston metro area. We've got education happening. And so really, when we are working with clients, it's not just we need to put someone in a seat and hope they can do the work. We realize that on the other end of that job is someone who's going to be performing amazing healthcare, really helping folks who are not doing well, or they're going to be helping discover new things that are impacting humanity, because some of the stuff we do does go on to change the world. And in short, to speak briefly, so just amazing work. And so we take that as a talent acquisition team, as a talent experience team, pretty seriously, and knowing that this isn't just another person, just it is someone who's going to do a very specific job that's really going to change things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 5 people in the world. Immediately, I'm gonna tie in Houston here. You're looking for Kevin Durant, right? It's as high in that for a number of positions. Every talent acquisition team wants an A+ player, right? They want somebody to go out, but you're looking for superstars out there. That has to be challenging. And one of the ways that you all are achieving that or working to achieve that helped you get recognized for a Candy Award. So congratulations on that. I want to ask you, what does that recognition mean to you, and what does it say about the candidate experience that you're delivering?
I am thrilled that we won. This was our first year to participate, and we thought we might get beat up a little bit. We thought, hey, maybe the first year is the learning curve. But to be awarded the Candy Award, for our candidates to say we had a great experience and you're an award-winning team, was really great. So that doesn't mean we rest on our laurels by any means. We've already started working on, okay, where were the opportunities? How do we make this the best candidate experience? Because what we want is, even if you don't get hired with us that first time you apply with us, you're still enthused about UTL Houston, and then you go on to apply with us again and again until we find that spot for you that we get to bring you on our team and make you a great team player. So again, thrilled to have won, and just know that we still have work to do.
Yeah, I think everyone in this space right now has work to do, right? It is continuing to get more and more challenging. We, see statistics on a regular basis about the impact that AI and automation is having on careers and hiring. And obviously, there's a lot of doom and gloom painted with that. I think there's some people who are speaking to reason, saying, we're going to need these tools. It's enhancing your current workforce, but it's something that every industry is recognizing right now, even the talent acquisition space. So I want to ask you, obviously, to get recognized for a candy, you have to be using some sort of AI and automation, I think, in today's day and age. What did that look like for you and your team? How did you get buy-in? Because for, 20 years, folks are using the same systems, similar systems, and then we're implementing new technology that makes people faster that maybe they're not familiar with. And there can be some people who dig their heels in, right? They are folks who enjoy tradition. If anyone says that they like change, they've never moved homes. That's something that I always like to say. So what did that buy-in look like, and how did you help get your team ramped up to achieve the candy?
Yeah, so I'm so glad that you mentioned change because that's really what it's about. It's about that change management, and it's a constant work in progress. So you have to be able to meet people where they are, both the recruiters and our clients, as we call them, or the hiring managers. And sometimes one kind of helps the other. Like if you have hiring managers who are thrilled whenever we'll go to different client groups and give presentations on what Phenom has to offer. We kind of do bite size a little bit at a time. And the clients go, wow, this is amazing. I had one group say, Jess, you're making recruiting fun again, which was the best thing I could possibly hear. So then you kind of bring that to your team and you say, look how excited they are. Like, let's figure out how to support this need. And that's also what it's about, not just change management and meeting people where they are, but identifying needs and saying, hey, I have something for that. Let's show you screenings. Let's show you AI scheduling, and just kind of being able to help them tackle that hurdle. And as soon as they see how the magic works, they're ready for the next one.
Yeah, I imagine that was kind of maybe the moment when you realize this is working. But I want to ask you, because I compare this to oftentimes like training for a marathon, right? It is the first day that you roll it out, people are going to be sore. You never want to run again. You don't like it. And then you start to get acclimated. You're like, maybe I do want to run. Maybe this is how I can run faster. Was that the moment that it felt like it was working, or were there multiple where you said, people are, I mean, hearing that making recruiting fun again is certainly a pat on the back. But was there kind of that aha moment, I guess is what I mean to say?
It's funny that you liken it to a marathon, because if that's the case, I probably started off running a 6-minute mile because we implemented this in July of 2023. And I was like, let's see what this can do. And I had just inherited Children's Learning Institute, and they're very kind of a niche area. Their research in the community, they often need bilingual Spanish speaking research assistants. And so I got this opening for 16 senior and entry level research assistants who need to be bilingual, who are willing to travel, for all, and grant based. So all the things that could be in the perfect storm, I got this. And so I said, all right, 6-minute mile, let's go. So I had to have all of these people hired by January. And this was, I think, when we finally got rolling into September, October. And so I started with an advanced filtering to find this niche within our database, which we have over 200,000 people now in our database alone. And then I made that list and I sent out this beautiful campaign with all of our branding on it and saying exactly what we needed, so they knew what they were getting into. Soon as they applied, and we saw 1,400 leads on both of those roles in the first 24 hours. Soon as we got that application in, a screening went to them. If they qualified, we immediately scheduled them through automation with the interview. We were able to fill those seats by January. And that's when I was like, all right, I don't care if I'm running a 6-minute mile, 8-minute mile, we're going to get this done because this is working and it's worth it.
Yeah, 6-minute mile. Congratulations. You qualified for the New York Marathon. We can't wait to see you there next year. And the proof is in the data, right? Because I know during our pre-call, you had mentioned that you had 91%, I think, of interviews scheduled within the first 24 hours. That is a 6-minute mile if I've ever seen one. How did AI and automation really help make this possible for you all? Was it simply as easy as clicking a button, or did you have to kind of work with it a little bit to achieve such success?
I don't think I hope it was that easy for the candidates, right? Yes, they were clicking a button. We were fumbling a little bit as we were learning the system, but that's all part of the growing pains, and you have to be patient with that. But one of the things is it aligns with the time. If you do anything on your phone, you can schedule a reservation at a restaurant. You can schedule a spa appointment. You can click a button and order your groceries and schedule it for a certain time. So why shouldn't recruiting have the same ease of access, right? That's kind of how we thought of it. Our candidates are expecting that experience, and we need to be able to deliver, especially if we're going to be competitive. We can brand our invites. So we would do that. They would know it's coming from us. As we know, there's a lot of nervousness with our candidates out there about who's a real company and who's not. So being able to add that personalization in, send it out to them, shows that it was us. They knew who they were working with, and they were ready to schedule that interview. So gone are those painful days that every recruiter knows about, where it's 4 o'clock on a Friday and your hiring manager's like, oh, I need 10 interviews scheduled on Monday. Do you mind? And you're like, oh gosh, I'm working all weekend. No, like it gets scheduled immediately.
That's yeah. I remember the days of I need to see 10 people Monday. I come from a background of staffing where we'd get a call, somebody quit on Friday, we need to get people in the door. So scheduling those interviews with a click of a button sounds wonderful. But when we talk about healthcare, you mentioned previously, Colin, I think that you're dealing with people's lives. You're doing a very sensitive data research, and continuing to push the boundaries of healthcare. Oftentimes it's either very high volume for maybe some of the specific practitioners, but also urgent, right? Where you need people in yesterday. How has automation helped with this process, right? Specifically when it comes to personalization, because you mentioned you're looking for, maybe 5 people in the world that can do that, the Kevin Durant's of the world, if you will. How are you able to balance the two of getting interviews scheduled, but also maintaining that personalized touch that I think candidates all crave throughout the process?
Well, I think Jess hinted on this. Obviously, when we can set up automations where someone hits a specific status in the ATS and that triggers something else to happen, doesn't require a human being to go in and make 15 clicks and make sure it's all personalized. The fact that we can set up that personalization in Phenom directly it saves hours and hours and hours of time. And obviously, we do have clients. We have a lot of high volume stuff that happens sometimes, especially at our psychiatric hospital. And I think Jess has some great data because they were her clients when she was working through this. So I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah. So we had a brand new psychiatric hospital open. We kind of had our veteran psychiatric hospital. And when I say veteran, I mean tenured. It had been around forever. But we needed an addition through state funds. So we opened up this huge facility that was serving 27 counties across the state, had over 500 beds. It's just beautiful, but we had about a year to get 1,000 employees in it. And again, this is not a clinic, and not to minimize that, but it's acuity. It's very high acuity. These patients need somewhere to go. Currently, they're being moved around ERs and different hospitals. So we really were the stop that was supposed to support this mental health need that we have in Texas. So the specific role that we tried our automations with was psychiatric technicians, which is pretty high turnover. It's intense work. And so we had to find a way to get people who understood what the role was about and wanted to stay. But it's also a role that we probably get hundreds of applications for. And so being able to find a needle in the haystack, right, and not lose them to our competitors was important. So one of the things that we did is we kind of similar to the role that I talked about earlier, we found that advanced filtering, ran a marketing campaign, and then we started automating your screenings. And how we had that happen is we have one-way integration. So we don't have the two-way where if we do something in Phenom, it talks for ATS. So what we set up with our automations was moving something in a step or status in our ATS would kick off that automation in Phenom. So if we thought, okay, this person looks fantastic, we're going to go ahead and move them, and we have Taleo in our Taleo system, it will then kick off a screening. And so our recruiters, it was me and one of my colleagues, we just were able to stay in one system to move after we had found kind of the people we wanted and got that set up in Phenom, which took out the clicks. I mean, recruiters are people, right? So we want to talk to people. And that's part of it. Whenever we're talking about selling AI, we're like, look, take out the manual work, take out the paper pushing. Let's be able to make this where you're spending your time with people and you're not having to worry about bouncing between systems and getting everything to work. So we were able to do that with that hospital. And I think we got 400 hires in the course of a year and a half, I want to say, for those roles. So it worked.
Yeah, 400 hires in the course of a year. You mentioned super competitive. And I think we all are. If we're in the human resource space, it sounds cliche. We want to talk to humans, right? I said that before, but sometimes we're not able to, right? I think you mentioned that one role. You're getting hundreds and hundreds of applicants. Um, was there any role that one-way interview scheduling, or excuse me, one-way interviews, or perhaps interview intelligence that was able to play a role in some of these high volume situations? Every recruiter wants to get on the phone with every single candidate. I think sometimes it's just not humanly possible. Um, were tools like that available for you, or were you able to leverage them in order to find such success as 400 hires in a year?
Well, I will say we have been able to utilize the one-way interviews to help get folks a little further in the process, because obviously we know that our candidates want to talk to a recruiter, they want to talk to a hiring manager, they've applied for a role, and even if we called every single one of them, it would take forever to get through that list. But when we offer the idea of a one-way interview, right, I'm giving you an opportunity to showcase even more of yourself than just the resume, than just your application. We found that most of our candidates are rating that experience is a positive one. The fact that I get to showcase a little bit more of myself, it was convenient. I didn't have to do it at a specific time and take off work if I'm already employed. And for the ability to, shine a little bit brighter in the recruitment process, right? So that's the positive for candidates. It's definitely helped them and got them excited and kept them excited about where they are at. Now, on the hiring manager side, this has also been a really great sell for them, because if I'm a clinic manager, I do have 3 positions open I'm recruiting for actively, but I'm having to go around and help with the clinic operations, and things are crazy busy. Um, the ability to give them a chance to screen candidates at a time that's convenient for them, and I hope it's between 8 and 5, but if maybe it's a little after 5 from time to time, that happens. And giving them the opportunity to say, oh my gosh, of all these 10 people I would have called before, I know the 3 that I really want to interview, because I know one of them is going to be my next great hire, is saving them time and making the process more positive for them as well. So, for those, obviously lots of entry level roles, that's really great. But we've had folks who wanted a one-way interview for not even entry level, just some of those middle areas as well. That makes it a little more convenient for all of them.
Yeah, I think asking individuals to kind of whittle down their professional experience or professional accomplishments into a black and white kind of sheet of paper sometimes can be unfair. Other times it's very accurate. But if you have other skills to offer, if you are currently, excelling in another area that you may not be able to express in words so eloquently, it's the perfect opportunity for you to showcase that, bring your whole self to work, and also I think it removes a little bit of that intimidation factor of an interview. I don't care how many years you've been interviewing, there's this little bit of nerves that if you can stop and start again and rephrase something.
I was gonna say, yeah. It's like sometimes it's like glamour shots, like, "Oh, I didn't love that," or all of us have flubbed up an interview question. So if the ability to say, "Ooh, I'm gonna re-record that one right there," that would be great, and that's what we get to offer through Phenom to our candidates.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. So obviously you at UTL Houston are seasoned pros when it comes to Phenom. You have had success. You are officially Phenom fans. Shout out Jerry and Heather, who run our Phenom fans over here. I want to ask you, for other organizations who may be faced with similar hiring challenges, obviously, 2020 vision looking back, what would you share about rolling out AI in the talent acquisition process? Maybe it's not the 6-minute mile that you're looking for right off the bat, but what kind of advice could you pass along to that?
Yeah, I think I have 3 main ones that I think about a lot, and kind of whenever we go to the Phenom conferences, we had this conversation a lot with other companies who are utilizing it. It's always a great conversation of, okay, how do we get everyone on board? What are the best practices for rolling this out? And one of the first ones is, don't underestimate the growing pains. I know I talked about that earlier, but you really have to respect them. Like, not everyone wants to run a 6-minute mile. Some people want to walk. And that's fine. Because at the end, it's the long game. You need to play the long game. You need to know that we're in this and it's going to work, and you'll see it work, but they'll do it on their own time. And then it feels like their idea, and everybody feels a little better with that, right? Than being told to do something. They'll also see that it's not replacing them. It's helping them. It's a support. And that's really important too, because what you said, Devin, earlier about how everyone kind of gets up in arms about it and worries. it really isn't about that. It's only as smart as we are, and it's only as creative as we are. And so when they see they're able to tailor that process and make it something that they have control over, they feel a little more comfortable with it. The other thing that's really, really, really important, and I can't emphasize this enough, is please make sure you understand the software. Like, you have to know how it works. And it helps also going in and troubleshooting with your team, because if they're like, this just isn't working, and then you go in and you're like, okay, is this a hiccup or is this user error? And how do we support that? And always, 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 user error is easier to address, right? We know that every technology gets a mind of its own and it does what it wants sometimes, and we can't always fix that. And then we're like banging on your door, right? But being able to show them like, hey, this is working the way it's supposed to, or as Colin loves to say, it's a feature, not a bug. This is the way that it needs to work, and it's actually assisting you. And this is how you can work that into your process. And the last thing I think I would say is, if you have a sticking spot with a recruiter, and sometimes I feel like that's our stickiest spot, like I said earlier, go to their client, present it, show them. And if they're excited, that becomes pretty contagious with the rest of the team. Also know who your leaders are, who are able to make those changes within your team, and kind of go to them. We started doing Phenom strategy sessions where we kind of met with the people who were willing to start taking on learning more about Phenom, and we coached them and we addressed their needs. And then they started kind of spreading that excitement to the rest of the team. So the more you hear it in a bunch of different ways, is a good way to get that buy-in. But please, please, please don't rush the process. Trust it and go slow. Walk with the people who want to walk, run with the people who want to run.
Yeah, I thank you for the Philly basketball reference there with trust the process as well. I expected that back after the Kevin Durant thing, so I appreciate that. One thing you did mention there, specifically was, or maybe it was previously, was keeping the humans, that recruiters want to talk to individuals. We have talked about kind of some of this futuristic space age technology, one-way interviews, scheduling things in the click of the button. How do you ensure that your recruiters continue to act as thought partners throughout the process, right? It may seem easy to rely solely on the technology. You mentioned just a moment ago, nobody wants to get replaced by the technology. Is that kind of one of the ways that you're doing that, or how are you effectively keeping them in the process as thought partners?
We definitely, the phrase we keep hearing with any AI related venture, especially the Phenom, is that we want to keep the human in the loop. And that's important. These are just tools. That is all they are. They're here to make our lives a little bit easier, to make it a better experience for the recruiter, for the candidate, for the hiring manager, any and all concerned. But the human is never leaving the loop. No one is, the AI system is not making decisions on its own. And I think that's key, is knowing that it is just a tool and that it's not cookie cutter. There's a lot of flexibility. You get to make whatever process works for whatever client you're working with, for whatever pool of candidates you have.
I was going to ask, I think keeping the human in the loop is always going to be important, even when we, think about, there's an old analogy or experiment that they've ran where chess player versus AI, well, the chess player with AI will always beat the other AI because of that creativity, because of that human in the loop process. And I think it sounds like that's what you're stressing as well, is if you, number one, can't leave it up strictly to the machines, because there are laws and regulations that would forbid that. Not that you would ever want to, but you're going to create a better experience, right? You want that ease of use for your candidates, but you also want them to, there's a very human side to changing people's livelihoods. It's how they feed their families. It's how they, progress their careers. So I completely understand keeping that human in the loop in the process.
Talk to more about your personalization point. I will just say, like, something we've been able to do is have folks who join our talent community, our sourcer on our team is reaching out to them. Hey, you haven't applied for anything, but you're interested. And we've had multiple people say, no one at any other company I've ever joined a talent community has ever called me. So this is technology that's allowing us to connect, continue to have a very human relationship with our candidates, and again, make it more positive.
Yeah, it's like winning the 50-50 at a sporting event, right? You're like, I've never won this. I joined the talent community. I just do it, because I want to I want to get the emails. And then all of a sudden you get a phone call. If you feel like you won something, that's amazing. I love that you are doing that. So one final question for both of you is, if we're having this conversation again in 2 years, which hopefully I have you on the show before then, I would love to talk to you next year. Maybe we'll do something recorded at I Am Phenom. But how do you hope things will have changed at UTL Houston when it comes to your hiring process and your hires as a whole?
I will say I would love for UTL Houston to have won an additional 1 or 2 candidate experience awards. I'm addicted now for sure. But I do hope that we have figured out how folks are utilizing the tool to the best that they can. Obviously, every recruitment process is different. Every hiring manager's needs are different. But that we have saved more time, we have made the experience more positive in a number of ways. And so I'm really trying to dive in and figure out how do we use all the features that Phenom provides us to make us an employer of choice. Obviously, I want a candidate who goes through the process to say, like, I did things in that recruitment process I'd never done anywhere else. And I'm excited about what UTL Houston is doing. If that's what the recruitment process is like, what is working there going to be like? So that's what I hope, is that we have some of those ideas in place whenever we are talking again, hopefully in the future before 2 years is up.
And I think one of the things that I want, of course, is more Phenom. But one of the things I want to see is how our retention rates on those employees that come in through this new process, how well they do. That's something we're kind of running data on. But I also want to hear our hiring manager say, what else do you have? What can we use to address this? I'm already hearing some of our team go, oh, I can't use this today. How am I going to schedule my interviews? I don't know how to work without this. So at the next 2 years, even a year from now, I think we're all going to have some more Phenom fans whenever we meet again. So hopefully we can talk again and tell you all about it at the I Am Phenom conference.
Yeah, I can't wait to have you there. And Colin, I know you mentioned you won a couple of candy awards. I'm going to nominate you personally for one of the Phenomenal Awards coming up at I Am Phenom. And not to say that I have a vote, but I'm going to make myself have a vote. And I'm going to go up and talk to our customers value team and everyone and make sure that we can get you guys recognized, or do at least, I may be talking out of turn. I don't know how much pull I have here, but I'm sneaking a live on LinkedIn now.
Oh, Devin, you said it. I'm going to write it down. That's contract now. I want it.
I'm like, listen, I'll take fake awards all day, every day. That's fine.
I will do my best. I promise you that. But I want to thank you both. I'm excited for what the future holds for UT Health Houston and Phenom. Jess, we're going to do our best to get you more Phenom fans, the whole thing in between. This was a lovely conversation. You guys were great having kind of the back and forth. I appreciate you playing along with my basketball analogies. And I can't wait to see you guys on the show again and in Philadelphia coming up in, I think, March. I don't know. I should know that. But it coming up in Philadelphia. But thank you so much.
Thanks, Devin.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Shout out again to Colin, Jess, and the entire UT Health Houston team. Always exciting to see, our customers winning awards and leveraging our technology to do so. I think our technology is just a piece, but as we talk about here at Phenom all the time, we always need to keep humans in the loop. We always need to augment that artificial intelligence with actual human beings. And I think they shared a few great examples of that, especially when they were trying to find their very own Kevin Durant's in the Houston area, the superstars of talent. But anyway, very fun episode. Can't wait to see them at I Am Phenom this upcoming March. I hope to record another episode with them. I know Jess mentioned that she started, with this technology kind of journey, running a 6-minute mile. So I can't wait to see what that pace looks like for them in March. Is it 5:30? Are they going to win the New York Marathon? We don't know. Only time will tell, but I can't wait to chat with them in the future to discuss further. In the meantime, I hope everyone has a safe, happy, and healthy weekend. Tune in next week. I will be joined by NAS Recruitment, and we're specifically going to talk about employer brand, how artificial intelligence ties into that, as well as how job boards cannot be your only source of getting talent in your door. It really needs to be a holistic approach. So great episode there. Hope everyone has a safe, happy, and healthy weekend. Can't wait to see you next week. And if I don't, have a happy holiday. Thanks so much. Bye.